I see a lot of people making a lot of dumb mistakes around building wealth, trying to get rich. And honestly, like I've made many of those mistakes. Thankfully, I've learned a lot from them. And along the way, I've picked up really like foundational principles and lessons and tips that can help you grow much more wealthy, even get rich. And it just so happened I was thinking about today's lesson anyway, and then I saw this story of this janitor who became a millionaire. In fact, grew an $8 million fortune as a janitor and gas station attendant. And I thought I would share his story and the important lesson with you today. So here's how to get rich, a huge lesson from a millionaire janitor. And the guy in question is Ronald Reed. He was a janitor and gas station attendant who actually died in 2014 with an $8 million portfolio. And so you might be asking like, oh, did he win the lottery? Did he have some huge, massive, did he invest in crypto and become some huge success that way? How did he do it? And the reality is way less sexy and exciting, but also way more achievable if you put your mind to it. And in fact, it's a much more certain way for you to grow your wealth if you follow this number one lesson to getting rich. So the lesson, what you need to focus on here today is accumulation beats acquisition and appreciation. Accumulation beats acquisition and appreciation, at least for the vast majority of people, the vast majority of investors, the vast majority, like this lesson will be the secret that leads you to get rich if you follow it. Obviously, there will be exceptions, right? There will be exceptions. But as far as the rule to follow, if you want the highest likelihood of getting rich, this is the rule to follow. Accumulation beats acquisition and appreciation. So just to be clear about these terms, accumulation means setting aside money as you get it. Savings, right? Like, if you are setting aside $1, actually, I got this lesson from Mark Ford, Michael Masterson. One of his major goals, long before becoming this multi-millionaire many times over, one of his major goals was just get $1 richer every day. That is accumulation. Setting aside at least $1 every day develops this practice, this habit of accumulation, right? And then it becomes $2 and $3 and $4, and it can really start to add up. Acquisition means getting money, windfalls. You win the lottery, that's a massive acquisition. Somebody gives you money, that's a massive acquisition. You have some big business success, some massive acquisition. Obviously, those things are a source of having money, right? They give you money that you can accumulate. But there are a lot of people who acquire a ton of money throughout the course of their lives who end up broke. There are a lot of people who are acquiring a ton of money every month who are living paycheck to paycheck. If you want to get rich, acquisition is not the only secret, and it does not work on its own. Appreciation means growing your money. Investment wins. You invested in crypto and it took off. You invested in some micro cap stock and it took off. You invested in whatever. Right? You invest in these different things and the value appreciates, it grows, right? And yes, that can be great. It's a great way to grow, to have more money, right? But accumulation beats acquisition and appreciation. So the two big myths about what makes you rich are acquisition, like getting a lot of money will make you rich, and having big investment wins will make you rich. So a great example of getting lots of money not making you rich is the fact that most people who win the lottery within a couple of years, they end up back where they were or often in worse in worse situations, because getting all that money did not teach them how to have money, how to manage money. It did not teach them anything about how to make money. They just had this huge acquisition of money. And a lot of times when people, let's say, get rich quick with some kind of like really fast business result, they'll end up going broke pretty quick too, for largely the same reasons, because just having acquisition of money does not teach you anything about good habits with money. And in fact, a lot of people who acquire a lot of money very quickly increase their standard of living to the point where if they don't keep acquiring a lot of money, they're going to be in trouble, right? Financially. Now, yes, increasing your ability to make money is something that I focus on very regularly in this channel. Almost every episode is about how to acquire money more effectively with copywriting, marketing, business building, entrepreneurship, that sort of thing, right? But just acquiring money is not going to make you rich. You have to, again, accumulate the money, right? Now, the downside to appreciation is something that I've fallen prey to. Thankfully, before I had a lot of money to lose. You look at a situation like crypto being the most recent, like massive trend in this regard. People saw crypto going up and up and up and up. And so they started chasing gains and they started putting more and more money in. Now, that market was largely a speculation. That wasn't based on some like increasing amount of profits that the crypto world was making, paying out to investors like a company that's growing. So it was basically based on buying crypto at one price and hoping somebody else would come along and be willing to pay a higher price than you. And there are a lot of things like the whole fractional, like you don't have to buy one Bitcoin. You can buy like a tiny fraction of a Bitcoin that makes it really easy for the price to go up and people to keep buying, right? But at some point, when a market is doing that, there stops being a greater fool, right? There stops being somebody who's willing to pay an even higher price for it. And the bottom falls out of markets when that happens. And it happens all over. If you study the history of markets, like it's happened a million times before, it's going to happen a million times again. And people are going to lose a lot of money in situations like that. And yet people still do it. People still chase gains. They still, they chase, or the latest thing is chasing super high yields, right? Every time the market is going down, people end up chasing investment stocks that will like pay super high percentage. And, maybe some of those stocks are a great opportunity, right? But if you really have your success, your financial success riding on, will this investment go up 100 times? Will this investment go up 25 times? You're going to end up making the same mistakes that investors have made through time eternal, right? And so, yes, it's great to have appreciation, but notably, Warren Buffett got rich on less than 20% per year, he'd still be the richest person in the world if he didn't give away so much money. So appreciation it's a very fickle thing. And the more you chase it, the more you feel like that's how you have to get rich. The more likely you are to end up in a situation where you're actually going to end up negative in the end. And so we come back to accumulation. Here's why accumulation is the secret to getting rich. It reflects good financial habits, practices, routines. Habits as a term is often used to understand something as being something you do without effort, right? And so I kind of like routines better, or practices better, because it implies effort. And saving and accumulating money, it does require some effort. It requires you to be intentional about it. It will probably never become completely automatic. I envy the person who is very easily able to save money and who doesn't want to spend it all every month, right? But I've learned that the practice of setting aside a little bit every month, which is not very rewarding in the beginning, it doesn't feel like you're becoming like some crazy rich person when you set aside, $300 this month, or a couple $100 this month, or $1,000 this month. It doesn't feel all that rewarding. But when you do it through time, when you do it consistently through time, it does start to become much more reinforcing. It starts to feel much better. But part of what makes this so powerful is that you learn a lot of lessons along the way. And so if you have a huge acquisition, if I were to win the lottery today, I would be smart enough not to blow it all. And I would probably just live off of the income generated by the lottery winnings. And it would be much more likely that I would keep that money than somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience with accumulating money, right? Appreciation. If your money really takes off, right? If you end up in some great investment and your money multiplies in value a lot of times over, you will probably make much smarter decisions about it if you're in this habit of accumulation versus something where you are chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing, right? So as you accumulate money, you do learn to live below your means. It's pretty much required for this. Now, you can increase your means, meaning you can become really good at a financially valuable skill such as copywriting, marketing, entrepreneurship. You can do things that create value in the world. You can innovate your products and services, the offers that you're putting into the marketplace. You can create scalable assets such as media that generates income beyond the amount of work that you put into it. And so your means, your income can increase, right? But the ticket here is if you develop this accumulation practice, right, you're going to say, okay, well, I'm making more money this month, but I'm not going to spend it all. I'm going to set maybe a little bit more aside, right? And you're going to grow your savings, grow your investment capital much quicker, right? And this is definitely the surest path of wealth, regardless of income. And the great example of that is this janitor that I found. His name was Ronald Reed, who lived into his 90s and grew an $8 million portfolio. And he was well known. He was well known for frugality. So you think of a janitor, right? And you may find some janitors who spend their entire paycheck, and then some who live a little fancy, who do whatever, right? But that's not what he was known for. His lawyer said it's a matter of living a certain way, keeping your lifestyle under control, and being committed. He was committed to just accumulation, right? And you could argue that as he got into his 90s, maybe he should have spent his money in different ways, but he was very happy spending the money in the way that he chose to spend the money. And along the way, he basically set aside everything he could. Now, I popped this into a calculator, and if you save $300 a month for 65 years at an 8% compound rate of growth, that's what it takes to get to $8 million. So that does require some longevity, right? He lived to 90. And so there's a lot of time involved in that. And there's also some assumptions, if there are down years, if there are years that are less than 8%, obviously the pattern can change, right? But on an average basis, if you are able to achieve that 8% return, $300 a month for 65 years turns into $8 million. Now, he probably didn't need $8 million, but that just happened to be what his account balance was at when he died. And notably, he didn't try that hard to beat the market. His lawyer said he only invested in what he knew and what paid dividends. Those were his main rules. What he knew and what paid dividends. That was what was important to him. So again, he wasn't chasing He wasn't chasing like major appreciation of his portfolio. It was just what he knew and what paid dividends. And he continued to invest to accumulate whatever extra money he was able to. And he did it without some huge acquisition event. He did not, as far as the story goes, he did not win the lottery. He did not have some huge windfall inheritance or anything like that. The story feels exceptional because he was able to do this as a janitor and a gas station attendant. He was able to do this on that kind of income. So my call to action for you at the end of this episode is just ask yourself, how can you use this, right? How can you perhaps focus a little bit more on accumulation as a primary strategy for building your wealth, as opposed to appreciation or acquisition? And of course, yeah, if you're growing your skill as a marketer, copywriter, entrepreneur, the point is to make more money. But just making that money is not going to make you rich. Focusing on doing the things that you need to do to be able to set aside a little bit of money every month, it will snowball. In fact, there is a Warren Buffett biography called Snowball that is based on this exact same idea, that the impact of this accumulation will grow and grow and grow and grow. And yeah, I mean, that really is the secret. Now, if you like this, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get more content like this delivered to you. As I said, a lot more marketing and selling and copywriting and business building advice most days, but this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. If you are interested in copywriting and marketing, my BTMS Insiders training library that's linked in the description is a great place to go to get courses, get lessons on how to do those things effectively. My name is Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets, and I will catch you again in the next episode. I'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.